Lesson 1.6, we are learning how to interpret graphs or read a graph. Now, there's two types of graphs that we're going to be dealing with today. We've got a bar graph, okay, that organizes our information or our data into bars, all right, that we can see, or a table, okay? A table would have our data listed maybe in a couple different categories, all right, and then it organizes the table or organizes the data nice and neatly. So for the first example here, they want us to answer questions based on the following table. Now, you do not have to copy down this graph, but what I do want you to copy down are these three questions here at the bottom. We are going to answer those questions together based on this graph. So I'll give you a second to write these down. So while you're writing these down, I'm going to explain what this chart is saying to you. First of all, this is a bar graph, okay? Because if you see, our data is organized into different bars here. What this chart is talking about is worldwide shipments of PCs. Now, PCs just mean personal computer, so it would be like a desktop computer. A lot of this information is probably taken from before you were born, okay? So it's pretty old. But what I've got is it tells me how many computers or PCs were shipped in the world, so it's not just the United States, it's the world, between the years 1990 and 1998. Now, if you look at what it says in parentheses right behind worldwide shipments of PCs, it's in millions. So when we say 98.4, that's 98.4 million computers, okay? What you have to have anytime you write a graph is a scale. What the scale is it tells me, okay, what numbers my data is going to fall under. Now, when you have a scale, the scale has to be equivalent. What I mean by that is if I go from 0 to 20, that goes up 20. So the next set of data has to go up 20. So 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, okay? Every time you move up, it has to move up by the exact same increment. I could not say, 0 to 100, and then 101, 102, 103. That would be a wrong graph, okay? That would be a wrong scale. It would construe the data. It would make it look like there was maybe more than there really was, okay? So what we need to do is we need to make sure that our scale is equivalent. That is the main thing that I want you to get when we're going to make a bar graph. So let's go ahead and let's answer some of these questions based on this bar graph. In what year was the greatest increase? So I need to know it really should say between which years was the greatest increase. So how am I going to be able to find that out? What type of operation would I need to use to find out how much did it increase? Anybody know? Subtraction. Very good. I could subtract 98.4 minus 70.8, and that tells me my rate of increase. So let's do that. Get out your calculators, and I want you to do 98.4 minus 70.8. Okay, so once we plug that in our calculator, the first rate of increase between 1996 to 1998 was 27.6. Now, let's do the rate of increase between 1994 to 96. What's 70.8 minus 47.9? Who's got that? Darshan? 22.9. Very good. What is the rate of increase from 1992 to 1994? Javon? Christian, what is it? Help him out. 15.5, perfect. And last but not least, between 1990 and 1992. Who's got that one, Andrew? 8.7, perfect. So now that we've got all of those listed out, in between which years was the greatest increase? Josh? 1996 to 1998. So I'm just going to answer the question by saying 96 to 98. Okay. What was the total amount of shipments from 1992 to 1996? So what am I going to do here? Isabel? Add, what am I going to add? Am I going to add the rate of change or am I going to add the totals? Okay, very good. Our original, the total. So I'm going to add 32.4, 47.9, and 70.8. And what was the total amount of shipments between those 3 years? Or I'm sorry, 6 years. Yes. 151.1 million. Now, you don't necessarily need to write million because they told us at the top of our chart that these numbers were in the millions. So it's okay if you leave off millions because you are supposed to know that that's what it's for. Okay? What was the difference from 1990 to 1998? Now, this question confuses people the way that it's worded. Okay? But it's really very simple. First of all, what does the word difference mean? Subtraction. All I want to do is subtract 1998 minus the number for 1990. So, 98.4 minus 23.7. People say, but what about all the years in between it because it says from 19? Nope. I just want 1998 minus 1990. I guess I should say the numbers for 1998 minus the numbers for 1990. What would that be? Abigail? 74.7. Perfect. Okay? That's how we could use a bar graph to interpret our data and to answer a question. Okay, in example 2, I want you to write this chart down. Okay, I do want you to write this chart down. This is a table graph. Write this down. And then I want you to answer the first 3 questions. Now, you don't need to write out the first 3 questions. You can just write the answers to the questions. But I want you to answer the first 3, and then we'll do that 4th question together. So take a minute and do that. Okay, who can tell me between which months was the greatest amount of increase? Who can tell me? Tori, do you got that? Very good. March to April. What was the amount of increase? 25 cents. Very good. So it went up 25 cents. Now, between which months was the greatest amount of decrease? So how much between the 2 months that it went down the most? Andrew? July to August. Perfect. And how much did it go down from July to August? 24 cents. Very good. Now, the last question says, what was the difference between the gas in May and then the gas in August? What was the difference between those two? Andrew?
15.
Okay, it was a 15-cent difference, but did it go up 15 cents or down 15 cents? Down. Very good. When they're asking you to explain the difference, you need to explain which way that it went. So in your final answer, I want down 15 cents. Okay? Make sure you give an explanation of which direction that it went in. The 4th and final thing that they want us to do is to make a bar graph of the data. So we're actually going to write our own bar graph symbolizing the data that they gave us. So on your piece of paper, I want you to write this down as I write it down on the screen here. Okay? Give me a second. I'm going to get it all set up. So what I want to do is I want to come up with my chart. I'm going to write my months down here at the bottom because I'm going to do a vertical bar chart. So I'm going to have March down here, April, May, June, July, and then August. Now, I need to make a scale to represent the amount of dollars that each month represents, okay? Amount of price per gallon. So I know I have to start at 0 here. Who can tell me what do they think would be a good increment to go up by? I'll give you a hint. It probably should be something smaller than dollars. I mean $1.
Oh, like cents?
50 cents. That would be a great way to go up because we don't necessarily want to do it by $1 because there would be too much in between the $4 mark and the $5 mark. Okay, so let's do by 50 cents. So I put 0.50, $1, $1.50, $2, $2.50, $3, $3.50, $4, $4.50, $5, and $5.50. Okay, so there's my scale. It goes up the exact same increment each time, up by 50 cents. I didn't skip a bunch, okay? I didn't go straight to the $4 mark and then up by a few cents, okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the bars that represent each thing, or each month. So March, I have $4.96. So I'm going to be very close to the $5 mark. So I draw my bar up, very close to the $5. And I'm going to color it in. Now, what I like to do with my bars is I like to write exactly what value I mean by this bar. If you noticed on the last bar graph that we had, it had each number at the end of the bar. That tells anybody who's looking at your chart, okay, I know it's real close to the 5, but what I mean is 496. Okay, that way nobody's guessing about it. Okay, let's do the same thing for April. April, we have $5.21. So I go up in between the $5 and $5.50 mark. Now, obviously, it does not have to be in the exact perfect location. I'm not going to look at that and say, oh, I think that's $5.20, so that's wrong. No, okay? As long as it's close enough, I'm happy. May is $5.10. So we're going to be a little bit lower than $5.21. Still over the $5 mark, though. June was our really expensive month, $5.27. July was $5.19. And then August was $4.95. So that's our smallest amount. So this is a bar graph to represent the data that was given to us in the table. We made sure that our scale was correct and that it went up the right amount, okay? and then we made sure we had our months at the bottom, and then at the top of each bar, we wrote exactly what that bar represents. All right, so that's how we would interpret data. Lesson 1.6.